volunteer security team.
I fired one round, the subject went down.
Jack Wilson trains that team here at his home gun range. He says the shooter immediately raised a red flag.
The wig, the fake beard, and he kept trying to adjust it. I was concerned that, there was a possible threat.
From the moment he walked in?
From the moment he walked in, yes.
Officials are not yet releasing the motive, and tonight we are learning more about those in his path. 67-year-old Richard White, a member of the volunteer security team. From his grieving family, God placed you where you were needed. You stood up against evil and sacrificed your life. And 64-year-old Tony Wallace, a grandfather serving communion, his daughter says, when he was shot.
He didn't have to take an innocent life. My dad was a great man.
It comes 2 years after 26 people were killed at First Baptist Church in Sutherland, Texas. Soon after, members here started their own security team, a controversial concept with some critics. But Wilson says he has no doubt his team saved lives.
I don't feel like I killed a human, I killed an evil. And that's how I'm coping with the situation.
And tonight, members are starting to gather here at the church for a closed prayer service this evening. As one member told me, Peter, here they are family, and this is a place of healing. Peter.
Blaine Alexander in Texas tonight. Blaine, thank you. Also tonight, 26 million people are under winter weather alerts ahead of the New Year's holiday as a massive storm moves through the Midwest to the Northeast, producing dangerous conditions for travelers. We get more now from NBC's Stephanie Goss.
Snow, sleet, and ice are bad enough, but add a whipping wind and life quickly comes to a standstill, which is exactly what has happened to millions from the upper Midwest to the East Coast. In the Dakotas, a blizzard sent cars skidding off the roads, forcing officials there to actually shut down parts of the interstate. In Minnesota, icy conditions led to a head-on collision between a car and a garbage truck. The danger of downed power lines on display just outside of Detroit. High winds in Ohio left tens of thousands without power. In some places, gusts surging to 70 miles per hour. While in the Northeast, the rain hit freezing temperatures on the ground, turning to a thick coating of ice. Combined with the wind, tree branches and power lines didn't stand a chance. A driving rain in New York City didn't stop preparations for New Year's Eve. The annual test of the Times Square ball went off without a hitch. I have some good news for the estimated 1.5 million people who are expected out here in Times Square for New Year's Eve. This rain is going to clear out and the temperatures should be above freezing. Peter?
Stephanie Goss already picking out a prime spot tonight. Stephanie, thank you. We want to bring in meteorologist Dylan Dreyer now. Dylan, what can we expect as the storm moves east?
Good evening, Peter. It has been a messy day for so many, and the storm system is going to try to pull away, but we'll still see the snow continue back through the Great Lakes, also across central and northern New England. On the back side of it, winds will start to increase a bit, so it is going to be a bit gusty tomorrow, and those gusty winds could create some more lake effect snow, especially across the eastern Great Lakes. So for your New Year's Eve day forecast, we are looking for chilly air to work back in across the northern plains, a bit messy in the northwest with mountain snow and some heavier rain and some lingering snow showers. Then for midnight on New Year's Eve, we're looking at clear skies in New York City for the big ball drop. It does start to cool off a bit in the northern plains and still messy in the northwest. Peter?
All right, Dylan, thanks so much. Tonight, a round of punishing airstrikes is raising the stakes in the standoff between the U.S. and Iran. It comes as President Trump, ahead of an impeachment trial, is facing new questions about the lengths he was reportedly willing to go to pressure Ukraine to carry out his agenda. NBC's Kristen Welker has that story.
Tonight, new video of bombed-out weapons storage sites after the United States launched airstrikes against 5 targets in Iraq and Syria belonging to an Iranian-backed militia that has taken aim at American forces.
President Trump's been pretty darn patient, and he's made clear at the same time that when Americans' lives were at risk, we would respond.
It comes as President Trump is intensifying his battle back at home over impeachment. And today, new details about the central issue, the president's decision to withhold military aid to Ukraine in exchange for investigations into the 2016 election and the Bidens. The New York Times reporting the president's demands dated back to June, earlier than his July 25th call with the president of Ukraine, in which Mr. Trump asked for those investigations. Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney played a key role, and the threat sent shockwaves, with one White House advisor warning, expect Congress to become unhinged. The Times also reports on an Oval Office meeting in August, where Defense Secretary Mark Esper, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and former National Security Advisor John Bolton tried but failed to convince the president to release the aid. The White House declined to comment. The Senate's top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, saying it all underscores the need for those officials to testify in a Senate trial. Peter.
Kristen Welker with the president in Florida tonight. Kristen, thank you. Messages of support are pouring in this evening for the civil rights pioneer and longtime Congressman John Lewis, who revealed that he is now battling an aggressive form of cancer. NBC's Jeff Bennett reports.
An outpouring of support tonight for Democratic Congressman John Lewis, an icon who fought on the front lines of the civil rights movement, now facing a foe like none before, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Former President Barack Obama tweeting, "If there's one thing I love about John Lewis, it's his incomparable will to fight. I know he's got a lot more of that left in him." Lewis, in a statement saying, "I have been in some kind of fight for freedom, equality, basic human rights for nearly my entire life. I have never faced a fight quite like the one I have now." The 79-year-old vowing to fight the disease with the same tenacity with which he fought for racial equality. Joining sit-ins and freedom rides challenging Jim Crow laws, organizing and speaking at the March on Washington alongside the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and being brutally beaten by Alabama state troopers in 1965 while peacefully demonstrating for voting rights. Lewis, now serving his 17th term, often called the conscience of Congress. The prognosis for his form of cancer is grim, but Lewis says he's undeterred. Congressman Lewis says he'll remain in office and hopes to return to Washington to continue working as he undergoes treatment. Peter? And we share our good wishes as well, Jeff. Thank you. Just ahead, how the threat of measles is prompting one big city to crack down on families with kids who are not vaccinated. Tough new requirements to go to school about to take effect. Also, a mystery in the sky. Swarms of drones flying in formation in one state, what authorities are now saying. And they were stars from all walks of life, our tribute to those we lost this year. Stay with us. We are back with a new crackdown to stop this year's record-setting spread of measles. Starting next week, Seattle students who are not vaccinated cannot go back to school. We get more from NBC's Joe Fryer.
Schools in Seattle are closed for winter break, except for the one that's open for free vaccines.
For me, vaccinations is very important.
The school district is hosting free immunization clinics because starting January 8th, students without up-to-date vaccination records can't go to class. Right now, that's about 2,000 kids.
If a student arrives and they are not up to date, they will of course have to be kept out of class.
This year saw the most measles cases in the U.S. in 27 years, with nearly 1,300 cases in 31 states. In Washington state, 2 outbreaks prompted lawmakers to remove personal and philosophical exemptions for the MMR vaccine. The goal, get more kids immunized. The threat of measles was most recently felt in Samoa, where an epidemic left at least 81 dead, mostly children. Now more American schools are taking action, hoping to stop a preventable disease. Joe Fryer, NBC News.
And next, that mystery of the sky, the swarms of giant drones lighting up the night and leaving authorities stumped.
Something great from Mr. Clean. Stop struggling to clean tough mess.
Back now with those strange sightings in the night sky that are unnerving homeowners. Mysterious swarms of giant
schools are taking action, hoping to stop.
Seems to know why. Guy Schwartz reports.
Tonight, a growing mystery in the night sky over Colorado. Fleets of unidentified drones reportedly flying in grid patterns, even spotted by law enforcement.
I have what I believe to be a drone asshole, and was headed towards you.
Some residents giving chase.
We got close to one, and it descended. I swear it got closer to us, and then the light shut off.
So far, this video they shot is the best evidence to emerge. The sightings reported across 5 counties in Colorado, as many as 30 drones flying in formation, some with wingspans estimated at 6 feet, with the FAA saying they don't have any concrete information to act on. On Facebook, some residents asking, can we shoot them down if over our property? But authorities warn shooting at them is dangerous and unlawful, and at this point, while the drones may be mysterious, they don't appear malicious. Gotti Schwartz, NBC News.
And coming up right here, our tribute to some of the best and brightest.
Whatever will be, will be.
Well, it's on.
Finally tonight, they are unforgettable. The people who had an impact on our culture and on our lives. They were in entertainment, business, politics, sports, and beyond. Tonight, our tribute to some of those who left us this year.
Welcome to paradise, man. Welcome to your dream come true.
I'm gonna snap you like a twig and throw you in a void.
Hi, Georgia. How are you?
Listen, there's something I don't understand here. Come here a minute.
When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be?
Gloria Vanderbilt, isn't that, I didn't know she had died. Isn't that,
Anderson Cooper?
yeah, his mom?
I think so.
I don't remember hearing that at all.
Here's what she said to me. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera.
Believe you're up and love to thank for you and me. Musketeers roll call. Now, now.
This is the way we get to see a mouse cartoon for you and me.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Hi, Eddie.
Pilot, you're turning pilot, pilot.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I grow high beneath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm will never ring. Books it's been on that line, wipe the sleep out of my eyes. The shivered razors cold and missing.
Did you meet him? You meet him night and a day.
I know that he is welcome always. Number 6, Bill Buckner.
Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna go and taste Saturday's high life. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna get some life back into my life. With the rest of them, the best of them, I will hold my head up high. For I've gotta go again, I've gotta drive again, I'm gonna feel my heart coming alive again before the parade.
Jerry, Marty, fuck, honey.
Hey Marty, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Want to hear a joke?
There's a point, and it's a very simple point, but it's one that I live by. It says, I only have a minute.
Yeah, Russell, well done.
Seconds in. Forced upon me, I did not choose it, but I know that I must use it, give account if I abuse it, suffer if I lose it. Only a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it.
Big Bird. Don't forget, Big Bird, we love you.
What legacies they left. Our thanks tonight to producer Katie Remchin and editor Barry Silverman for that moving tribute. That is the news for this Monday. I'm Peter Alexander. We thank you for watching and have a good night.
I think we were talking about Rough Pro Diane.
Desperate for your attention that he wanted to stay with you. And
There you go, see. Jeans are
6 months left with him, and even that took away.
It's the way to have that stuff.
Okay. But the thing is, I realize now that
Hey, Bill.
how to be here with us today. Olive, her twin, alive, maybe grow up beside her. God, to be able to play. He had to.
The only reason we were on that trip in the first place was because you insisted. And Brian was sex.